All right, so we're going to start doing chapter 7. I had to redo the video because there was a slight error in it. If you have done chapter 7 already and you set up your expense account for the delivery fees, it should not be cost of goods sold. That was not correct. It is an expense account. It is handled as an expense account in that book, but what we learn also is that it could also be a part of your inventory. It really depends on the policy of the company. So in this book, we're going to use an expense account and the delivery fee. So my apologies if you had that wrong, and I will just record a new video for everybody to have the correct one from the beginning. Okay, so we are going to manage inventory. We're learning it on Craig's Design. Let me put that down here. And as always, you're just going to go and watch the video, read the text and all that stuff. So we're entering into the company, which is down here. And we open this in a new link. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is we have to get into our gear list and products, and we're going to set up new inventory. So how are we going to get to the products? There are 3 ways you can use to get there. There's one right here, sales, product, and services. Also, if you click here, it will be right there. Then we can also go into our list, product and services and click here, or we can go in all lists and you can also click here. So we're going to see that we have no out of stock items, no low stock items at the moment. There are some services set up, but we do not have any inventory that we're tracking that is out of stock right now. Okay, so what do they want us to do? They want us to enter a new product, which is going to be here, and it will be a traceable inventory item. So we're using this. The item is called Yard Gnome 2 feet tall. I'm going to copy and paste it later on. The initial quantity is 0. This field is very sensitive, so make sure you enter the zeros. It's just the programming in the background that they said, hey, if the format is 1126, it is okay, just turn it into 010126. This field doesn't have the programming in the background, so we just have to enter it all the time like this until they fix it. It will be an inventory asset, and the description is the gnome. Actually, they say the 2 feet up here, tall. Okay, then the sales price is $45, and it's a sale of a product, not a service. The tax rate is taxable standard rate. Okay, we have this. If this doesn't show up, there may be a show more link that you're just gonna click. But if you scroll, it should come up too. And then the purchasing information is this one here. So I'm just going to copy that here. And the cost associated with that sale will be $14.25, and it will be in cost of goods sold expenses. Okay, so we're going to save and close that. If you have to take a screenshot, please don't forget that. Next, we are going to enter some non-inventory item. So we are doing the same thing. We're going to click New, Non-Inventory Item. It is called Wheat and Feed. And I'm going to copy that, put it in the description, and the sales is $59.25. It is not a service, so it will come up as a service because it says it's a non-inventory product, but it's a product itself, but we're not keeping track of it. Okay, so you're just gonna enter sales of product. Okay, it is the taxable standard rate. And we do have purchase information. So you're going to put Wheat and Feed in here again. The costs are $21.75 and it will be expensed under purchases. We do not have a preferred vendor giving at this time. So we're just going to save and close this form. Here you see we already have one item out of stock. It is not the Wheat and Feed. It's the 2 feed gnomes that we just entered. So next we are going to set up another non-inventory item for product and special orders. Okay, so this non-inventory, the name is a bird feeder. And then the category, I sell that one. Yes, I do. Okay, this is going to be here. The sales price is 0 because it will depend on the special order we're doing. The services are not existing because it is a sale. And then, yes, we do have purchase information, which is only the bird feeder. We do not know the cost yet, and we also do not have a special vendor associated with that bird feeder. So we're going to say save and close. And now we're going to work on our inventory adjustment. Do not forget to take screenshots if you are asked to. So when you took inventory on September 21st, you counted 29 sprinklers, pipes, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so now they want us to do an adjustment because they saw that the numbers are not quite matching to the actual inventory. So we're going to say plus, here's the other section. It is an inventory adjustment. The date will be 9/21/26. And it will be, okay, choose landscaping sprinklers in the product, 29 in the quantity field. Okay, let's do this first. So we have a shrinkage, okay? So we have to put that in here, inventory shrinkage, because it will now go against your cost of goods sold. And you will have a change in quantity of, 2, but it doesn't do that. So we have to add in here 29 and it will say -2. Okay, so you can play around a little bit, see what entry does what, but at the end, you will have to have new quantity of 29 and it will be a deduction of 2. Okay, so, and just for the fun of it, press save. And you see this down here appears and you go into more and you're going to see a transaction journal. And in this transaction journal, you will see, and I will switch to the old view, which I prefer at the moment. You will see that it is labeled as inventory shrinkage against the asset, which is our inventory. Okay, so when we go through the books and later on, we may go through our inventory account and see the changes. We can see, hey, there was a shrinkage. And usually you should have a paper that explains the shrinkage. You cannot just say, hey, John from the warehouse called and told me there are 2 gnomes gone or whatever we're going to sell. This is not efficient enough for bookkeeping, because you don't want to be the one that entered that and then somebody snagged it away and stole it. And all of a sudden you're in there and you're like, but he said, well, I didn't say that. So you just need to have a paper trail of some sort about stuff like this. Always protect yourself. Okay, so we're done with this page. We're going to continue with purchase orders. In this exercise, you will create a purchase order for some inventory products that Greg has asked you to buy. Okay, so purchase orders are going to be up here under vendors, because we're dealing with a vendor right now. We're not selling any products, we're purchasing products. And we're going to put the purchase order in here. So who's the vendor? The vendor is Tim. And Tim is in the system. That's nice. And the date is 07. Okay. And then we're delivering with UPS. Why are we keeping track of this? So if you, sometimes the departments are split. Sometimes the bookkeeper is not the person who's doing the purchase orders. Sometimes the salesperson is not the person who's doing the purchase orders. Sometimes there's a separate department. And before I moved to the United States to join my husband, I've been asked to actually lead a department that is solely there to create purchase orders, to create invoices for the customers, to make sure that the job that has been ordered will be done. It was a solar company that actually sold solar panels and installed it. So there was a lot of movement, inventory movement. There was a lot of prepayments that had to be reconciled every month. And if it's such a big volume and you are in your office and you have several people asking you about stuff, so who's going to ask you? The salespeople want to know when the purchase order will arrive. When will the job be done? Is there any delay or whatever? So what you do, you tell them, hey, look in the system. It will be shipped with UPS. Here's the tracking number. Put the tracking number in here, and you can look it up yourself. You don't want people to interrupt your workflow every other minute because they have questions. You enter that into the system, you teach them how to use the system to work effectively, okay? So that's one reason why I would put that in and make it a company rule. But also, if you use a shipping company all the time, you will have to have some sort of tracking. How often do you use? How much revenue do you bring that shipping company? Because eventually, if you have a huge volume of shipping, you can go there and say, hey, we're using you guys for so long. We made so much money for you. And now we want to see if you can help us with your quote a little bit and come down if we keep up the volume that we're doing right now. So it's all about using the data you put in the system and make it work for you. You use that data to do your tax return, but this data is not only for your tax return. It is very important to use that data for your business. Tax return is just something we have to do, and we use the system for that too. Okay, so back on track. We put that in here. We talked about this. And then what does it say? If necessary, click category detail to hide and collapse the section. Okay, we did so. Now in the items. So let's talk about this right quick. The category is an expense or revenue. Okay, we're not dealing with expense and revenue right now. We are actually dealing with product and services. We will learn about this section in a minute. Okay, so we're ordering. What are we ordering? We are ordering the gnomes. So we can do this and start fresh. 2 feet gnomes, here they are. And we're ordering 5. Did you notice how this field comes up and it says quantity on hand? There's nothing on hand. So this is quite a nice feature that you have in your system. And this auto-populated because we entered that while we're setting up the product. And we're good to go if your amount is $71.25 and you're going to say save and close. I'm just going to say save because I want you to see something. So you remember we just did that for the inventory. When we corrected the inventory, we had a transaction here. When we're creating bills or we're creating checks or something and we're saving it, there's a transaction here. A purchase order does not create a transaction because it's just an order. Nothing has occurred yet. There was no money exchanged. There were no items exchanged, no products delivered, nothing. It's just an order. It's not a prepayment or whatever some people do. We only exchange information, which does not mean at this point for a purchase order that we have a transaction. Okay, so that's why you cannot see a transaction here. Okay, so save and close. Purchase orders and reports. Deliver your skill 7-5. In this exercise, you will view the open purchase order list report and find various other purchase reports. Okay, so how are we going to do that? We're going to go in reports. Oh, we're in there already. Sorry about that. In standard. Then we're going to go down to the expenses and vendors. I wish they would have a special section for inventory, purchase orders, items only, but they don't. So you just have to get used to that stuff. And then we say purchase order list. Okay, the purchase order list is here. And it will say all dates. And let's run it and make sure this amount and everything works out. And you can actually see, hey, you know, UPS, cool. All right. So if that looks like something in the book, you're good to go to continue on. Okay. Now we're going to look into a different one. We're going to look into the purchase by vendor detail. And you can actually look here, purchase, and it will give you some stuff, purchase by vendor detail. Okay. And it will give you all the vendors. They're here, Hicks Hardware, Norton Lumber, and so on, or not specified, which is the inventory adjustment. Okay, and you can actually go here and see everything. But here, you know, notice that it only is June 2023 because we're recording it in June. And so it will only give us this month. But we can go up here and we can say all days and run that report. And all of a sudden, you will see that the 2026 are in here. Okay, so we'll continue on. We saw that report and then standard purchase. And then we go into reports again. And we say purchase product service detail. Okay, I'm going to put that here, product service detail. Product service detail. All dates, sure enough. Okay, and then you can see, okay, these are all my products and services, and these are the details to those services. So earlier it was the vendor that was important to see in the first row. Now it's actually a product or the service that we see in the first row. All right, so you became familiar with this. There was nothing to do unless you have to do a screenshot for Dr. Lambert. We're going here to develop your skill 7-6, and we will receive the inventory for the purchase order we just did. So you're going to go in here, and they say they delivered it, they gave us a bill, which we're going to click here. We enter Tim. All right. I don't see anything about the terms as of right now, but when I go down here, it will tell me. So first of all, we're gonna select the 7125. Please disregard that. We're only working on this right now. So we have that in. Then it gives us a net term of 15 days, and we do have a billing date of September 9. Okay, so that's it. That's all they want us to do for right now. And we can actually close that, but we're going to say save. Let's do save. And when you click here, now the transaction journal is done. And what has been done? Let's see. We received accounts payable because we haven't paid it yet, and inventory asset. All right, so that sounds wonderful and looks good. We can close this up now. Let's go back. Dashboard. And we're gonna do another one. We're gonna purchase on non-inventory products. Okay, so you will include this item. Purchase order for non-inventory item. Amy's Bird Sanctuary special ordered a bird feeder from Craig. You will include this item on the purchase order of Tanya's nursery. So what we got to do? Well, we're going to do a purchase order. And it's going to be Tanya's nursery. We have a date of September 10. And we're going to say it is delivered. It will be weed and feed. $15. Okay. And then the second row, so we have two items we're buying. It's the bird feeder. And we're going to say, it says Red Barn 24-inch. Okay, we got this. It's one, and the rate is $28.50. So the rate varies. That's why it was not given here. And if we look at the amount, it's $354.75. Make sure that these details that you probably cannot see right now in your book are confirmed with these details here. And then if the amount is correct, if this is correct, you'll be fine and good to go. And you can say save and look in your journal entry. Haha, there's no journal entry. Remember, it's a purchase order. Purchase orders did not have a transaction yet. So they are only in the system to look at it and see what's going on. They are not there to give you any transaction feedback because nothing has been done in the bookkeeping yet. Okay, save and close. And we're adding an expense to a purchase order. In this exercise, you will receive and pay for the wheat and feed and on purchase order, as well as pay and add a delivery fee. You will need to add the delivery fee as a new account. All right, so what's going to go on? We're going to say vendor's expense. And you're going to say, why is it vendor's expense? Why is it not a bill? Well, because we paid it immediately with the MasterCard, okay? So we're going to go here. We're going to say Tanya's Nursery. So just imagine they roll up with the truck, they throw out the wheat and feed and the bird feeder, and they say, pay us right now. So you don't even have time to put that bill into your system and say, yeah, I will write your check or however you're going to pay them. They say, no, I want you to pay me right now. So you're going to run into the office, you're going to get your card and you say, here's my MasterCard, charge me. And they will charge you right away. That's why it is an expense and not a bill. Okay. So you're going to say MasterCard here. The payment date is the 15th and the payment method is a MasterCard. Do we have a reference number? We do not. And so here it tells us to add the purchase order number 1006. So obviously we're receiving all of this. And then they want us to put a delivery in here. So we're asked to delete that. This is from an older one. And they say delivery fee is not in here. So we have to add a new account. They also tell us that this account is an expense account. Okay. So it really depends on the company's management, how they want that to be done, because these are also considered inventory freight in expenses that are not always going into the expense accounts right away. Sometimes they go into the inventory account, and then once the cost of goods sold is expensed when selling the item, we have it on there. So for the purpose of this course and in this book, we're assuming, as it says, it will be expensed immediately. Okay. So you're going to look for an expense account, which is right here. And we have the detailed type will be something with delivery. So let's see how we can make this happen. Shipping, freight, and delivery. And then we're going to name that delivery. Okay. So save and close. Good. And the amount is $15, and they want us to put delivery in the description as well. And they also tell us that this purchase order is billable to Amy's Bird Sanctuary. Okay, Amy's Bird Sanctuary. So please click here or look at here and see if everything, sorry about that, that should not be in there. Just delete that because the bird feeder is the only thing that's billable. That will be for her. That was a special order. They did not click the taxes yet, so I think we're not dealing with taxes right now. But always keep in mind it's for the purpose of that book. Okay, this does not reflect reality and states differ. Just be aware of it. So the final should be 369.75. And if that is all correct and it is the same as here, you're just going to say save and close. Now there has been a transaction in the background. If you want to see the transaction, instead of save and close, you only click save and you're going to go into the transaction and look at it yourself. Okay, so now we're going into the next one. Vendor credits and returns. Okay. Here's a side note. You cannot apply a vendor credit to a bill that has been paid already. Just make sure that you understand that and you're not getting frustrated later on because it's not working. Okay. So one of the gnomes were damaged and we just have to do a vendor credit. So how are we going to do that? We're going to say new, because this is going to be a transaction and these are all transactional forms except for add customer or add vendor and stuff like this. But a lot of these, and purchase order, of course, but a lot of these will have transactions in the background. Okay, so what we're going to do is a vendor credit. And we're going to say Tim. The vendor credit is September 10. You do not have tax at the moment. And in item field, so here, make sure this is correct. You're going to say the gnome. Okay, it was one that got damaged, amount, okay. And we are utilizing the memo field and say return of damaged item. Okay, so the next person who goes into that can actually see what happened. And now we're going to say save and close. And now you will apply the credit to the payment. Okay, so we're going to choose the vendor, pay bills. We're doing this with the checking. It is 9/15/2026. The check number is 71. That's correct. And it will tell us to check mark to the left of Tim, Philip. This is this one. Okay. And you see that it already applies the credit for us. So we do not have to do anything. The only thing we have to do is we're going to say save and print. And then it says save and print. I want us to do the preview. Okay, let's do the preview, which sometimes does not really work out well because it's not well set up. So we're just going to say close. Yes, I'm finished with setup. And I hope it printed. So to see if that works out, we're going to say pay bills, and you see it is gone. Okay. So if you want to see if it printed the checks, you go and print checks. And you see it's still there, so it didn't print. So how are we going to say that? Preview and print. And we're going to click print. So I think I hit close earlier. That was the mistake. So let's say click. Yes, they all printed correctly, done, and they will disappear. So this bill has been done. If you want to see if everything is correct, you go into your vendor. You look for Tim, which is right here. and you can see your transaction list, which is also right here. And you will see return of damaged good. This is the payment, and you can see what has been done. So we received the purchase order, we received the bill, something got damaged, we also received the vendor credit, and then we paid it, and now we're zero on all of this. But you see how many steps it will take to get to the point. And if you have thousands of entries, you have to have a really good system to get your reconciliations done quick. Otherwise, you have one person you pay just to reconcile accounts. And that's a lot of labor you have to pay. Okay, so we did this, we're good. And next we're going to do the sales taxes. Okay, just read this, be aware. This is not what's happening everywhere. So we're going to go into our sales taxes. And you will say what? Do it later. And this field, and I'm not sure why, is very different to what's going to come up with your puppy love. Okay. So just be aware that things have changed and this is not the same way all the time. Okay, so we're going to say at, and they want us to do a new one. The text name is Second California, the Board of Equalization, and it's 8.5%. And we're going to say save. And you're going to see that here. Okay. And then we return to sales tax out and resend payment links. Okay. In the related taxes box, task box, choose edit sales and tax settings. Okay. If necessary, choose California in your default sales tax box. It's already in there, and then save, be done with it. So this really varies a lot from what we will see in the other company. It surprised me, but the book did not pick up on that right now. Okay, so next. Inventory and non-inventory products, billable expenses. So we're going to learn that we can give that further, what we paid, and put a little bit margin on it to make some money to our customers. So what we're going to do is say, we're going to write an invoice to Kate. Term is net 10. The date is September 15. The product is the 2 feet gnomes and reselling home. Three. Also going to do wheat and seed. And she's going to do 1 of it. Okay. So that's it. And then the sales tax should be California. This and the total amount should be $209.79. Okay, so we created a customer invoice. It's Kate, net 10, date is 9/15. We have the yard gnomes, a quantity of 3, and the wheat and seed, a quantity of 1, and the sales tax of California. We're going to save that and look at our transaction. So if this looks like this, you're good to go and to continue. If not, make sure you understand why and how to fix it to make sure you have it for the next session that comes up. Okay, so return to the dashboard. All righty. And now you will create an invoice for the sale of the special order plus invoice. And you're going to put Amy Sanctuary in there. And here you see that there's already something coming up. And it's only $28.50. So let's see. It is a net of 10. The invoice is the 16th. Add the billable expense from here. Okay, so why does it say $28.50? Well, this is the amount we bought that for. And remember, when you have a business, your goal is to make money and to let your services and products be paid with a little margin on it. So our rate will be 75 as the book tells us to do so. We are disregarding this. This is not made for us. So I hope, nope. Can I put this away? Okay, let me open this up a little bit because I need to show this. So we're going to mark the tax field. It's taxable. And when you mark the tax field, it will calculate the taxes, which is $81 in total now. It's the invoice amount. So we are good to go and we can save and close this form. Perfect. Now we're going into customer returns and credits. So one of the memos, one of the gnomes will be returned. So we are going to choose plus credit memo for Kate. So we're going to put Kate in here. It will be on September 17. And the product is the 2 feet gnome. And it's 1. And we also need to consider the sales tax because now she doesn't have to pay that. So we have to pay that back to her. And we're going to end up with credit memo of $48.60. Unfortunately, they do not give you this amount. So we're hoping that we're correct on that. And we should, because we didn't do anything except taxes. So we're going to say save and close and be done with that. Okay, customer refunds. Duke's Space Basketball Camp bought 3 bags of wheat and feed, but did not need all of them. In the exercise, you will sell a product on a sales receipt. Then you will accept the return and refund the customers. Okay, let's do the sales receipts first, which is here. Okay, so this is Duke's Baseball Camp. They bought stuff on September 17. They paid with a check. The check number is 1545. It will go in undeposit funds and it will be wheat and feet. And they used 3 of them. Okay. It's taxable. It's already set by default. So we can say save and close. Now we're creating the refund. So they brought it back, and we're saying refund receipt. Okay, so it is Duke's basketball camp. The refund took place on the 18th. And how they are going to get that? Well, we're going to give them a check. Going to go from our checking account. And you see how this pops up. Hey, do you want to print it or print it later? We just want to print it right now and be done with it. It's going to be weight and feet. And it's supposed to be the same amount, only one quantity though. And so they're going to get a refund on check number 72 of $63.99. We're going to say save and new. Okay. Going to close that. And I want to see if that check has been printed. It's not here. Okay, and then that should be good. All right. So we've done this. We said, okay, we printed a check, and now we're going back to the dashboard and looking into the reports. Okay. So the reports say develop your skills, 714, choose reports, click sales and customers, choose inventory evaluation summary. Choose all dates. Okay, so it says this report provides your total inventory evaluation plus the average cost of each product. So it's just something they want you to become accustomed to learn how to read reports and what type of reports they have available. So then we're going to go back and we say inventory detail. Inventory evaluation detail, it's right here. So you see this is way different from what we've just seen. And they want us to pick all dates. Let's do all dates. And so for the gnomes down here, they want us to check the numbers. Yes, we have 2 gnomes left, 2850 and 2850. So this is the total amount we have in our inventory for the gnomes right now. Okay, so let's go back to the dashboard. And that's it for the video. I'm going to do a separate one on tackle your task because it's a little bit of exercise. So just look out for the next video.